You're watching BCTV, Brantford's community access station.
This is BCTV, Brantford Government Television, a service of Brantford Community Television. The following program is brought to you through the support of the Town of Brantford.
Shower, and Kevin's being paraded in Bob's office right before me for what he done, and I won't get into that. But so Kevin leaves, and he rolls his eyes and said, "It's not a good time." So I go in, I hand my uniform to Bob, to which he picks it, grabs it, throws it against the wall, and tells me to sit down and shut up. To which I did, and he basically then decided to give me what I consider to be his if poem, which is, you know, that if you could fill the 60 seconds, I'm sorry, if you could fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds distance run, you know, years of the world and all that's in it. And what he was really telling me was essentially, you cannot let the moment get bigger than you. You have to be bigger than the moment. And I can't tell you once again how many times that's come into play in dealing with business and colleagues and making things work. So, that's it, folks. That was the first children's adhesive bandage that was introduced in 1987. This is a portion, a type of wound dressing that was basically done out there. Between these two, I have a warehouse of failure, but we also have things that really work very well. All right, finally, I'm not up here, especially in football, as a member of the Hall of Fame without the people that played with me. And we had some very special equipment. I'm looking over Walter Reynolds and Artie Durant, probably two of the best tackles, linebackers, and defensive linemen you'd ever want to see. Walter was a thrill to watch because he did crackback blocks every time I basically returned a punt. And after a punt, you would look at our opponents and it looked like the losing side of a Civil War battle because they were laid out all over the field. But we had great guys. Rich Vanderbilt, Rich Bicknell, two of the toughest guys, linebackers, running backs that ever play here. Now, we played three teams prior to our season. We played Notre Dame. They were number 2 in the state before that year. We played Xavier, I think they were in the top 10. And then we played West Haven right before the season started. All right. Notre Dame essentially had 2 All-Americans. We cooked. It was like 36-6 at our place. We just ran all over. So all of a sudden, we're on the radar screen. Next game was Xavier, another top 10 team, and we tied them. We played them pretty straight on. They were very good. But the team we played in the fall was West Haven. West Haven beat us on a Hail Mary pass at the end of it was a game scrimmage. At the end of a game scrimmage. That next game we played, 2 weeks later we played Camden. We opened up the stadium. We beat them 14-8. West Haven played Camden 2 weeks later and beat them 90-6. That Coach McHugh, that was the highest scoring team and the highest ranked team that the state of Connecticut ever had. Their average points scored every game was 70 points. All right, so we played the 5th ranked team in the country, and we were bummed out about it. We were as good as any if we had a top 11 on the field. Problem is, we weren't deep, and we had injuries. So we ended up basically having a little bit of losing streak. But when we all got together later on in the season, we made a run as to what we did. And so, if in fact we didn't have the injuries, I'd be joined by a lot more people on this podium as far as all of them. And all these guys. Who am I missing over there, guys? Well, Mark Grillo and Kevin Gilbride. Now, Kevin's not here. Mark Grillo played with me at URI. He started 3 years. He was an all-league player. He should be on this podium. Right? And so there's another one. Kevin's here. you is that, let's see, I started at 210, we're now at about 220. Kevin went for 45 minutes. And owns the record for that, so basically I'm just preparing for that. But I just want to make sure I caught everybody. I got Bob, I got Mike, I hit Joe, and like I said, there's so many other folks. Chuck Genovese is here. Chuck Genovese is here, coaching in my first midget football game. Rich Bicknell's dad was my first minor league baseball coach. Eddie Pepe's father was my first Little League coach. And I'm talking to you, great people, great citizens. And, you know, as kids, you say, how much of this stuff do they actually absorb? Well, I can tell you, in my case, so as far as what happened between, like, you know, the bottom 25% to this, well, I'm blaming you guys, all right? Because those lessons that you learned in those impressionable years mean everything. And you carry that stuff forward. Now, a couple of lucky things across the way, somebody diagnosed dyslexia, that helped. But at the end of the day, it's basically the foundation, the people you grow up with. I look at Bobby, me, and Mike Keller. They organize a group dinner for my class that gets going every month. Terrific people. They're great organizers. Been very successful in their own right. If I basically had to look at all these groups, there's people. If you look at one hell of a successful class, I just happen to be the captain for no apparent reason. So anyway, Ed Walsh, another one. Ed Walsh basically runs the Walker Camp thing every year. He handles that. Ed left to go to Hamden, so he became an enemy after 8th grade. But you know, we grew up in the same neighborhood. Lifelong friends. So folks, lifelong friendship. The other thing, obviously, I haven't faced the credit of my family. I will tell you, especially on the business front, you don't get to do these types of things unless somebody's taking care of the family members. And I mean, as far as bringing the kids up, I was essentially useless. And she had, you know, I'm so impressed with teachers, by the way, who I think also make the best coaches. I'm very. All right. I think they're my one note is one part of the listening thing. I went to a seminar and talked to the. Sorry, I went to 25 now. But just one thing. Going from Legion baseball to coaching girls high school softball. And I asked the coach, I said, who did that at Virginia Tech? And he ended up having a very successful Virginia Tech baseball team. He went to softball, had an All-American pitcher, and they made a run right to the semifinal. And I said, all right, what's the difference? I was new to it. I said, what's the difference in coaching women and men? He said, you know, I thought about that for quite a while, but when it came down to it, women have to feel good about themselves to play well. Men have to play well to feel good about themselves. Pretty simple explanation. I can't tell you how many times it came to play for me. Every so anyway, I'm going to leave you there. Thank you very much for coming.
The inductees will also get a DVD, something of the event, so watch it over the holidays with your family. Before we close, the North Haven High School Sports Hall of Fame would really like to congratulate Hall of Famer coach Bob DeMayo on his recent retirement. After 60 over him for is how he clearly impacted thousands of student athletes, many of whom are here today. So we congratulate Bob, and there's a flyer on the table, registration table on the way out, but the North Haven Booster Club is hosting an event for Bob on November 13th, right here, from 11 to 3, but we'll take that, and I'm sure that they would love to see you all here. And I just I want to thank my committee for all of their hard work. Most of them are over here. Thank you all for coming, and we hope to see you again in the future.
Hi, Ellen. It's great to see you.
Good seeing you, man. Oh, that was great. Good seeing you. Oh, he's great. Yes. You're doing that at Notre Dame now. Yes, yes. Somebody and then you walk up and they say, thank you so much. Great job. Thank you. Just fix this. That'd be great. Let me know. Yeah, I'd love you. I would. All right. Take care. All right. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. All right. That was good there. I know. How many more stories do I have to hear? Man, I said hi or whatever. Ed Walsh. Good to meet you. Yeah. So you guys are obviously younger. Yeah. How old are you? What are you guys doing? Chris is 52. Yeah. sort of meet Tommy and Jeff. No, but my family moved. See, I played through 8th grade, and then went to Hampton. I played at 95, but we were up 6-0.
Should have stopped the game.
Whoever how they rate everything, rate the court.
The whole thing, you just can't get 1 second.
That thing was up. Oh yeah, no, we had a and Timmy was always there. We played basketball there and everything. We played everything right in that park. And then we played basketball in the winter. We go up on the roof and Kevin go inside. Kevin never liked that idea. He said, but once he was in there, he wanted to do it. And tell him I was.
Want to go a little longer? Sounds good.
That's good. Great, thank you. All right, take care. Yeah, there she is. Go ahead. I gotta. All right. You're like impossible. I hope not. I will check it out. Yeah, what? Yeah, we gotta, you're like impossible. I hope not. I will check it out. Yeah, what? We gotta, you're like impossible. I hope not. I will check it out. Yeah, what? We gotta, you're like impossible. I hope not. I will check it out. Yeah, what? We gotta, you're like impossible. I hope not. I will check it out. Yeah, what? We gotta, you're like impossible. I hope not. I will check it out. Yeah, what? We gotta, you're like impossible. I hope not. I will check it out. Yeah, what? We gotta, you're like impossible. I hope not. I will check it out. Yeah, what? We gotta, you're like impossible. I hope not. I will check it out. Yeah, what? We gotta, you're like impossible. I hope not. I
Check it out.
Yeah, what? You gotta, you're like impossible. Hey, hold on.
Check it out.
Yeah, what? You gotta, you're like impossible. Hey, hold on.
Check it out.
Yeah, what? You gotta, you're like impossible. Hey, hold on.
Check it out.
Yeah, what? You gotta, you're like impossible. Hey, hold on.
Check it out.
Yeah, what? You gotta, you're like impossible. Hey, hold on.
Check it out.
Yeah, what? You gotta, you're like impossible. Hey, hold on.
Check it out.
Yeah, what? You gotta, you're like impossible. Hey, hold on.
Check it out.
Yeah, what? You gotta, you're like impossible. Hey, hold on.
Check it out.
Yeah, what? You gotta, you're like impossible. Hey, hold on.
Check it out.
Yeah, what? You gotta, you're like impossible. Hey, hold on.
Check it out.
Yeah, what? You gotta, you're like impossible. Hey, hold on.
Check it out.
You gotta, you're like impossible. Hey, hold on.
Check it out.
You gotta, you're like impossible. Hey, hold on.
Check it out.
You gotta, you're like impossible. Hey, hold on.
Check it out.
You gotta, you're like impossible. Hey, hold on.
Check it out.
You gotta, like impossible.
Hey, hold on. I will check it
You're like impossible.
Hey, hold on. I will check Hey, hold on. I will check it Hey, hold on. I will check 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 Hey, hold on. I will 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 check it out. 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 Hey, hold on. I will 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 Hey, hold on. I Hey, hold on. Hey, hold on. Hey, hold on.
They'd like to ask Dr. Sanders.
I just want to make one comment question. When you talk about talking to people and telling their story. Not all patients are able to tell their story, and they should always remember that pick an advocate with you to the doctors, the person that knows your story. But it happened to me. I was able to go to every round with every doctor because every doctor had a different opinion. So I had to start the story all over again because she couldn't talk.
Absolutely right. I mean, sometimes we're not able to tell our story, but the fact is that story is essential. And if the patient can't speak for themselves, like Anna couldn't tell her story, she had to rely on her sons to tell it for her. It still was essential to get that story told. Otherwise, I hate to even think what might have happened to that 94-year-old lady.
Anybody else have a question or a comment? Question? Okay, so I guess what you need to remember is tell your story and tell your story, have an advocate.
And I would also say, encourage you to take somebody with you, not even if you can tell your story. Hearing what the doctor has to say is complicated, and people often have feelings about what they're hearing. So take somebody with you, somebody who can write down what the doctor says, because that turns out to be important. And doctors don't mind that. I actually advocate, if you don't have anybody to take with you, take a tape recorder. Sometimes doctors get a little crazy about that. Tough. I mean, you need to remember it. You can't remember everything. That's important. So, tell your story and then take away to remember the doctor's answer, because sometimes not that easy to remember.
And just remember that even now in this COVID time, doctors in Yale New Haven allow one person to come in with you. So they can help tell your story.
They can. Ooh.
All right,
okay.
So thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you, Dr. Sanders. Did everybody get a chance to buy a 50-50 raffle ticket? We're over $300 that we're going to split. So they're going to go around while you're eating lunch if you want to get in on that 50-50 raffle. It's $1 a ticket. Do whatever you want, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to have people, to keep the lines moving for lunch, we're going to have people escort each table up. So wait till your table's called, please, because it gets crazy if everyone just gets up, and then we'll be good to go. All right? Bernadette's back.
All right, we're just going to wait for lunch now, I guess. Things are... I could do it now. I could do it now.
It was right there. It's up to you.
Okay, may I have your attention a minute? I'm going to do a little switch around a little bit. But I have a very important piece that's never been done at this presentation before. What I've decided is, in my being here at sea for all these 14 years and now getting ready to exit to this wonderful team of people who will, I'm sure, see going forward, I have established a Healthy Aging Award. It will be called the Bernadette DeJulian Healthy Aging Award. And it will be for a person between 80 and 100 plus who has continued to embrace life throughout their life, physically, intellectually, socially, and spiritually. And today I'm going to present the very first Bernadette DeJulian Healthy Aging Award. And I would like that person now, who's sitting right in front of me, to come up here. So Sylvia Rifkin is a 101-year-old adult. She resides at the Towers Senior Living Community in New Haven. She was born in Newark, New Jersey, May 25th, 1921. She was married to Jerome Rifkin and has 2 sons, 4 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. She worked for the VA hospital as a secretary for a Yale psychiatrist and then for a Yale psychologist who dedicated a book to her for her outstanding service and dedication. She was then the business manager of the Yale Child Study Center until her retirement in 1988. After her retirement, Sylvia volunteered at the Jewish Home for the Aged, the Jewish Community Center, and she helped Dr. Bernie Siegel in his workshops for the terminally ill. In her retirement, she also started tap dancing. With a group of seniors who were called the Blossom Tappers, and they were together for 20 years. Now, when our Shoreline Eldercare Alliance had their very first celebration of healthy aging at the village of Mariners Point, Sylvia was a tap dancer. Our very first time that we had the celebration of healthy aging, she and her group came and tap danced for us, and they were wonderful. Sylvia moved to the Towers in 2009, and she continues to be actively involved in numerous activities, including managing the hospitality desk and playing many challenging card games. And I just want to tell you a quick personal story. One day, I kind of oversee this hospitality desk, but Sylvia really does it because she's there and I'm not. And one day, I got caught in a traffic accident. I wasn't in the accident, but I got behind an accident, and I knew all these people were going to be waiting to hear about this hospitality desk. So I was panicked. I was like, I'm not going to get there, I'm not going to get there. So I'm calling, and I'm leaving messages. And I finally said to somebody, it's okay, Sylvia's going to be there, just let her take over. And she did. I got there, everything was done. And that was when she was already 101 years old. The reason, now, you know, the one thing we have to understand, I think, is that we're not Pollyannish about this. Sylvia, as other people who grow old, do not have perfect lives. Sylvia faced unexpected death in her family. She had illnesses. She just recently got over COVID. She fell and broke her leg recently. As you can see, she's walking. So she's had her share of what we all get in life, good and bad. But she does embrace every day. That's the point. She embraces every day in all ways and really embraces life. So we're really, really, really happy to offer her this award. And Sylvia she's going to say a few words to you, but she also is going to, I think, read a poem of hers that recently has been chosen to be published. So here is Sylvia Rifkin. Want to stay?
Thank you so much, Bernadette. Thank you for those beautiful words. All I can say is I wish you all to reach 100 years. It's absolutely wonderful to be at this age. And people ask me, what's my secret? Well, perhaps tap dancing did help. I've just started working on the New York Times Wordle, and I've become addicted to that. And I always feel that you're never too old to learn something new. And so one of the things that I did learn recently, we had a poetry workshop at the Towers, and I hadn't written poetry before, and it was suggested that we write something called an I poem. And so in about a few minutes, which was given to us to write off the top of our heads, this is what I wrote. I have a Russian soul. My roots come from Belarus and Kiev. I cry for the people in Ukraine. When I hear classical music in the minor key, I cry. When the music dances, I too dance. My life has been long. I've seen so much good and bad. The world must get better for my grandchildren and great-grandchildren. This I wish with all my heart and soul.
Sylvia is nothing but amazing. And this is the first annual Healthy Aging Award 2022, Embrace Life, Sylvia Rifkin, September 7th, 2022.
All I can say is that she's some woman. She's just great, and we're very happy to have her here today. Congratulations, Sylvia. And thank you again, Dr. Lisa Sanders. All right, lunch will be served shortly. All right, we're having people come up for lunch now. All right, someone will call your table. Oh, I guess some tables are already going. And we'll go ahead and probably skip it and get some of our meals for our honored guests.
You want to get them first?
Yeah, I'll get them.
Burn?
Yeah.
These two?
right in front of you. Take a moment now to just say that, we had our presentation for Sylvia Rifkin, our Embrace Life Award, but I want to introduce the fact that her son, Howard Rifkin, just arrived to be a witness to that, and he's here with Sylvia now. So Howard, if you stand up with your mother. Thank you very much for coming. So we're going now, the next part of our program kind of looks like entertainment, but it's more than entertainment, because what we hope to do in this part of the program is to show you how much C loves senior centers and how much we appreciate what they do for people. Senior centers are great, and if you can join one and join in their programs, that's a great step toward healthy aging. And today we have some presentations, some demonstrations of things that happen in senior centers that keep you healthy. We also have we have somebody to talk a little bit about the BACA, which is the Branford Arts Association, and we have somebody from the Soundview YMCA to do a demonstration also. So while you're eating and while you're sitting, before we have our humorists come on, we're going to have our little demonstration party, and the band will help with some of this, and some of this will be recorded. So the first people we're going to call up is the Guilford Senior Center Aerobic Group. And would you like to say something first? Here is the Guilford Senior Center Aerobic Group.
Good afternoon, everybody.
All right, everybody.
I've been teaching the aerobics for 40 years, and I today felt so wonderful because I saw people that were in my class 40 years ago. So I just want to leave you with this one thought. Exercise stops the aging process. So I hope you enjoy us. I'd like to just introduce the people that volunteered to help you see how much fun it is. And over here we have Karen, Josephine, Marlene, Sue, Joanne. I hope you enjoy it. You're fine. You're fine. Do it, whatever you want.
Now this might not be dancing or moving to the music, but this is another way that seniors can be involved, not only as appreciating art, but being artists or being volunteers for this group. And Frank is the president of the Branford Arts and Cultural Alliance. He's going to tell you a little bit about it.
Thank you, Bernadette. Can you hear? The Branford Arts and Cultural Alliance has been here in the Shoreline for 8 years. And our mission is to provide opportunities for the public to appreciate and enjoy art in all its forms: visual art, dance, music, and the written and spoken word. So we've been very fortunate to have been able to gather volunteers to help us accomplish the mission. And right now, the place that we're most proud of and where we're spending most of our time is the beautiful gallery that we opened on Main Street in Branford a little over a year ago. And if you haven't been there yet, I hope that you will take the time to visit it. We have art representing over 50 of our Shoreline artists, and they paint in all the various forms of art: modern art, abstract art, representational art. But mostly, it's an opportunity for artists to show their work for the public to enjoy and also purchase. So, what we're trying to do is to provide as many opportunities as possible for the public to be able to really enjoy the value that art brings to our lives. Because we believe that art elevates the quality of our life. And as we grow older, you realize that the things you probably didn't have time to do when you were younger and working, you now have time to enjoy. And so I encourage you to think about participating in the activities of the Brantford Arts Alliance. Perhaps you may want to consider painting or drawing or sketching and see what the end result is. We recently discovered a woman who lives in Brantford. She's 93 years old, and she has been painting for the past 75 years. And she's amassed a collection of art, over 250 beautiful works of art. And we are working with her family now to hopefully provide access to that art so that the community will be able to see what she created, thinking that her family would be her only audience, but we realize now that the beauty of her art needs to be shared with as many people as possible. And so we're going to try to create that opportunity for her. So I hope that you will consider, first of all, coming down to the gallery, perhaps becoming a volunteer with the Brantford Arts Alliance. The gallery is always welcomes volunteers to be there when we're open on Wednesday through Saturday, and also to help us organize future activities. Our next event is actually next Saturday, the 17th of October. We're going to bring back the painted doors of Brantford along Main Street. Some of you may remember we did that 2 years ago. We had over 60 painted doors, creatively painted by artists, amateur artists, professional artists, and we have them lined up all along Main Street in the center of Brantford, and we're going to do that again next Saturday the 17th, and I hope that you'll come to visit and enjoy it. So if you have, I hope that you might be inclined to want to become more active in the organization. Stop by the gallery, and you can volunteer, you can sign up for future activities, or just come by and enjoy the art that's there for all to see and appreciate. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon.
And Shoreline Eldercare Alliance supports the arts, and we encourage you all to do so. So now we have the Guilford Tai Chi group, wherever they are. Where's the Guilford Tai Chi group? Oh, well, there they are, all dressed in white tops. All right. So this is another very wonderful form of art and form of exercise that you can partake in. You don't want anything quite as hefty as we saw the aerobic group.
We are very happy to be here. Tai Chi, or Tai Chi, T-A-I-J-I, T-A-I-C, as performed in China. And and also you can find the forms that we teach on YouTube. So today we're going to perform a new routine or form that was released by the Sports Administration in China in 2018,
and they are suggesting that new students in China learn this form. So we have recently learned this form, and we'd like to demonstrate it to you. So we have Tai Chi for beginners, welcome all beginners, and we have Tai Chi also for more experienced players. Yes, and should you have any questions about Tai Chi or what we offer at the Guilford Community Center, I'm going to be around this afternoon. Thanks.
All right, we'll ask everybody to be quiet because this is a very spiritual meditation kind of exercise. And spirituality. And again, I would say support your senior centers. Senior centers offer a tremendous amount of ability toward healthy aging in every way. And again, we have something else on the Shoreline now that is not the senior center, but our Soundview YMCA, which is right down the road here. And people from Madison, Guilford, East Haven, Brantford, all belong to the Soundview YMCA. And we have Colleen here now, who's going to tell us a little bit about what they have and do some low impact exercise. You want to say a little bit about the why?
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Again, my name is Colleen Villano. I am the Director of Healthy Living at the Soundview Family YMCA right here in Brantford. And we service the towns Madison through East Haven. and offer a variety of classes for seniors as well as youth and adults. So if you're ever interested in stopping by for a visit, please stop by and we'll be happy to give you a tour. We do offer silver sneakers, we offer Renew Active, and we also offer Silver and Fit. So if your insurance companies offer that benefit, we'll be happy to process that for you. So we'd like to get you a little bit active today. We're going to have the band here play the YMCA. You're invited to stand up or you're happy to sit down as well. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Colleen. Thank you, YMCA. Okay, so this next demonstration I know is something you have all loved through the years. And we're going to dedicate this to Sylvia Rifkin, who was a tap dancer herself. And actually, Sylvia's group preceded your group. But she'll really appreciate your group. This is the Bradford Senior Center. Marty Ann Goglia is the leader of this group. And they're going to come out now and show us what you can do at the Bradford Senior Center. Okay, thank you.
Pockets.
The Bradford Senior Center. Tappers. So once again, those are, our sort of entertainment demonstrations. But we wants to just have you all see that there's so many opportunities for seniors for healthy living. Tap dancing, Tai Chi, aerobics, going to the help with the the Bradford Art Association, YMCA. So don't sit around, move, stay healthy, and maybe you'll be like Sylvia when you get to be 101. But Sylvia was a tap dancer and she still moves pretty well. I've seen her dance in her very later years. So anyway, in the program it says that we're going to end this part with a sing-along, but actually I didn't bring the words. So we can't do that, but I think the band's going to help us play something that we can all sing together, right?
Right, we're just going to play it through first, and then we'll join in on the second chorus. How's that? All right?
Okay, yeah.
I think just think about the words.
Once again, I want to give a great big thanks to this wonderful band, the Survivors. For being part of our great day. It's wonderful. They're such a great addition. And I want to ask, we have these little slips of paper here you filled out when you went through our wellness place. And if you didn't put it in the bucket now, we're going to have a drawing at the end. So if you haven't put yours in, come and put it in now, or raise your hand and we'll pick it up. So Janet, you want to take this around? Some people have their hands up. And also, is there anybody else who's interested in the 50-50 raffle. We're having a 50-50 raffle, and here are the raffle tickets right here. Raise your hand if you're still interested in the 50-50 raffle. So, I think that you guys can start. Yeah, you guys can start putting your things Any more people for the 50-50 raffle? Since they're doing that, you couldn't play it, but oh well. Thank you for having me. And we're getting ready now for our last presentation, which will make you all laugh. In a few minutes, as soon as we get ready to go with this 50-50, we're going to have Joy Salton come up. She's the doctor of humor.
Would there be an extra copy of the program, that little booklet someplace here that I could take?
You could take this one. That one's all written up on. This one's
okay. Yeah,
the out in front too.
2 months ago, I had my 55th MIT meeting. That's where I went to undergraduate school, and lots of things you say.
Just before we go, I'd like to say you've been an absolutely marvelous audience, and the work Bernadette has been done over the years, I think, is absolutely amazing. You wonder sometimes, what can one person do? Look around you. Look at the people in this room. Look how everybody is benefiting from this one lady's idea. Can I put something together that they never had before? She gives a round over here. She really is a great, great lady. A great, great lady.
So when I was up there, I met a guy who was saying, some of MIT is the same as it was when I was here 55, 60 years ago. There's all kinds of new things, and it's huge. It's spreading out, spreading up in Cambridge. But one of the things they have there is relatively new, is the thing they call the Age Institute. And I met the guy who's the head of it, a fascinating speaker. His name is Coughlin or something. And he said, I told him about the band playing, all of us are older folks and things like that. He was interested in that.
If Debbie is here, she's looking for Jules Bashkin. He's over here, the old gentleman. The gentleman sitting in the middle between the glass doors, he's the guy who put us together 11 years ago. And last December, he celebrated his 100th birthday.
Now, 101.
The man drives, got a girlfriend, and goes on cruises. How's that?
So anyway, I was saying, I met this coughing fella, and I told him about the band and from VR and everything else. And we were part of a radio program quite a while ago on aging in the brain and one aspect of the exercising people can produce music in their lives. So we certainly have. We like to provide it to people like this and anybody else. So anyway, he said, send me a card or something, and I'll send you a copy of my book. This is the guy's book on the subject, but I'm going to send him this.
Okay, there's probably a lot more up in the front.
Okay, yeah, I thought I'd send it. This is great. It's really quite the show.
All right, we're getting done.
co-presenter now who we've had for a number of years with us. She is the guru of laughter, or sometimes called the professor of laughter. Her name is Joyce Saltman. She is a professor emeritus of special education at Southern Connecticut State University in New Haven. She chose to receive her doctoral degree from Columbia because she liked the color of their doctoral gown. It was no small feat that she was able to persuade her mentor to allow her to write her dissertation on humor and adult learning. But she was way ahead of her time because we all know how important that has become. She also holds 4 graduate degrees in the fields of special education and counseling. Her innovative teaching style has led to the development of a graduate course entitled The Enchantment of Learning Through Humor, as well as a summer institute called Healing Education, Laughter, and Play. Her experience in the areas of education, therapy, and comedy has provided an outstanding background for her research on the therapeutic value of laughter. She's a lecturer on laughing and has been doing this for a long time, even on radio and TV, and now Joyce spends part of her life in Florida, where she has a whole other audience and a whole other school of laughter. Her dynamic seminars and articles, always peppered with humor, address topics such as dealing with difficult people, laughter as therapy, parenting, and relationships. Her goal is to enlighten, educate, and entertain while the audience laughs. She has been speaking on laughter and related uplifting topics since 1983. And she hopes to be able to die laughing, but not very soon. And I will tell you, just today, Joyce brought me a book of songs that she helped write that are their words put to already existing music, and they're really funny. So maybe next year we'll get to sing some of those songs because they sound. I'll copy them, and they're really funny. But most of all, I would like to say, for me, most of all, I claim Joyce as my friend, and that I think is the most important.
Hi, kids. Now, I am going to do you a great favor. I'm not going to sing. I am not going to tap dance, right? I am not going to do any of the things that you might assume that a person might come up here to entertain you. I am going to give you, I read what Bernie sent me, what she wanted me to speak about. It was not the first topic that I had chosen, right? It is not even the second topic that I had chosen, but it was the topic that Bernie chose. Okay, so we're going to talk about getting past the pandemic and back to real life. And I will tell you that for those of you who came to me earlier and said, oh, are you going to be giving the same talk when you're in Guilford at SIL next week? No, that is one of the talks that I was hoping to give today. That talk is going to be to be or not to be single. And it's going to be all about the difference between singles and marrieds for those of you who think the other one is preferable. You will find out that that is not always the case. All right? Now, I do want to tell you, before I get started with my official talk, that they are opening a new restaurant called Karma. It has no menu. You get what you deserve. Now, before I get started, I would like to ask for a few volunteers. So let me tell you what kind of people I want. I want a couple of people up here who had not such a terrific day. Somebody who was not catapulted out of bed this morning with the words, wow, a conference where we can be inside all day and it's supposed to rain, right? Just come come on up. I promise I won't embarrass you, won't cost you anything. Just come on up if you had not a terrific morning before you got here. I have many categories. Come on up. Okay, how about a lousy week? Anybody have a lousy week so far? Come on. Come on. Rotten month, anybody? Just come on up if I hit your category or one that's close by to your category. How about a rotten year? Anybody have a rotten year so far? Come on, come on. Oh, once you're here, don't worry. Okay? How about a rotten decade? Anybody have a 10-year? Come on up. Oh, we want you. Come on. Okay, is there anybody here who has not been getting enough lately? Now, you know, it could be enough sleep, enough money, enough of anything. Anybody else wants a little extra something who's willing to come up and get it? I promise we will not embarrass you. Just come on up. We can take as many of you as want to be up here. Just come on up. You're going to get a little something extra. Anybody else? Jill, I saw your hands up before. Come on. No. Come on. I know, I saw you. No, you're coming up because you raised your hand. Anybody else? Would you please help Jill come up? She's getting old. Beautiful. Anybody else want a little extra something? Okay, we're going to hold hands across the front here for a little mutual support. Just hold on, I've got the mic here. Just hold hands across the front, okay? Okay, now, those of us who are up here would like those of you who are seated to know that we know you're liars. It is not possible that anybody in this room has not had at least one bad day, right? One missing collace, one need for fiber, right? One need for a toilet quicker than you could reach it. But these honest folks came all the way up here, not knowing what was going to be required. So I would like you, all of you, to give these people the best, loudest, most fabulous standing ovation of your lives for these people who have had not such a good day. Very poor. Okay? My people up here could not keep it up. I only asked them to hold up their arms. So I don't know what you were thinking about. Okay, they are going to keep their arms up, and you all are going to now give them a rousing, cheering, standing ovation. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, let's go! I want you all to know you did a very good job, which shows that even older people can learn. That's what we're trying to show, that older people can learn. I'm going to let these few honest folks go to their seats, okay? But I do want the rest of you that at any time one of you needs a standing ovation, all you need to do is get up and say, I need a standing ovation, and I'll stop whatever I'm talking about and we'll give it to you. Okay? But there is a condition to this. You cannot get up and be wimpy about it. I don't want to see somebody get up and say, oh, you know, maybe I can be standing ovation. You got to get up and say, I want a standing ovation. And if anyone's having an infertility problem, asking for standing ovulation will work as well. I will say, having checked the room, I don't think too many of you are having that problem, but one never knows. Now, I am going to be talking to you briefly about what it was like going through this pandemic, for those of you who somehow missed it. And I don't think that's really too possible for anybody. One of the things that I found and I really loved was a public notice. This is not a joke. I got this it was from Thursday, November 7th, 1918. Okay? The public notice from the Corporation of the City of Kelowna, which is apparently in British Columbia. All right? And it said, public notice.
I'm from there. It's called
Kelowna.
Yes.
Oh, that's how you pronounce it. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, it said, public notice. Notice is hereby given that in order to prevent the spread of Spanish influenza, all schools, public and private, churches, theaters, moving picture halls, pool rooms, and other places of amusement and lodge meetings are to be closed until further notice. All public gatherings consisting of 2 or more are prohibited. And this was signed by the mayor of Kelowna, right? 1918. So, when people say there's nothing new under the sun, even what we went through for the last 2 years was certainly not anything new. Now, what was really wonderful is a lot of things, as we all know, were closed. And I love this. Somebody was nice enough to send this to me, and it said, not everything is canceled. Sunshine is not canceled. Spring is not canceled. Love is not canceled. Relationships are not canceled. Reading is not canceled. Naps are not canceled. Devotion is not canceled. Music is not canceled. Dancing is not canceled. Imagination is not canceled. Kindness is not canceled. Conversations are not canceled. And hope is not canceled. So we recognize that we made it through those 2 years. And the funniest one that I got was somebody gave me this fabulous definition, and we'll all appreciate it. Many of the places that we're still going are requesting that we wear masks. And I've noticed a number of the people today, including our speaker, was wearing a mask. People feel safer with masks, even people who have been obviously vaccinated. But this one you will relate to. It is called an airgasm. Did you ever hear that word? An airgasm is the intense pleasure of leaving a public place and taking off your mask. Now, there were a lot of jokes. And I am not going to bore you with all the pandemic jokes because I did those on Zoom for 2 years. And there were enough pandemic jokes to last a lifetime. Having said that, I will tell you my favorite pandemic joke. My favorite pandemic joke was about the husband who had a virtual prostate exam and now cannot find his phone. That one really appealed to me. When I read that one, I was laughing for a long time. Okay, somebody wrote, romance novels written during COVID-19 will be like this. And then she slowly slipped her mask down, revealing her warm red lips and her blushed face. And as their eyes met, he gently removed her gloves. And over the 2 years that we had to deal with the pandemic, most everything was the same. The first year is the second year, only the second year. Most of us had toilet paper, right? It is unbelievable to me that given the number of people that I know who belong to Costco or BJ's, how many of you have accounts at Costco? How many of you go to BJ's? How many of you have a garage filled with 12 rolls at a time of White Cloud or one of those, right? That will never happen again, right? We're never going to be without toilet paper again. I do know, there used to be a very bad joke about somebody was in the ladies' room and she asked the person in the next stall, do you have any toilet paper? And the person said, no. She said, well, do you have $1? So the woman said, yeah, I do, and handed her 4 quarters. Those are the kinds of things you can't prepare for enough, you know. Now, of some of the other really marvelous jokes that I had heard, had nothing to do with COVID, but because we're in times really thinking a lot about health situations, I have gotten for you some health questions and answers, and this is by Dr. Kenmeister. And I guarantee you that we know Lisa Sanders left, and that is fortunate, because I would not have been able to read these if Dr. Sanders was still here. Now, apropos, just so you know, Dr. Lisa Sanders does indeed run these columns that she mentions, and one of her columns talks about very strange disorders, and does anybody know what this could be? And people write in, and if they get the right answer of this far-fetched thing, they receive a copy of her book autographed. My son sent in the right answer and got her book. So when I saw that Lisa Sanders was going to be speaking here, I wrote to Stephen on the email, and I said, is this the same Lisa Sanders that you had gotten the book from? And he said, yes. And he loves her. And he said, she'll remember me because I kept annoying her to purchase other books to give to my staff. He's a cardiologist in Bennington, Vermont. So he appreciated her book, and I printed out his email to me. Now, speaking of emails, by the way, email is a great thing, as we all know, because it helps us keep in touch with some people. And as it happens, my son is now 54. And I told this to Lisa. Lisa talks about how she decided to go to medical school when she was 36. One day, my son called me up. He was 28 years old. He calls me up, and he was a psychologist. And he says to me, Ma, this is bullshit. If I want to help people, I might as well be a doctor. I said, go ahead, I'll pay for medical school. And he went to University of Vermont Medical School, and he has been a cardiologist ever since then. So there's never a time that you should not pursue. And that's one of the things I love about how marvelous it is to be getting older. Number one, I got to be 79 in July. And what is wonderful about 79 is, number one, is not 80. I like that a lot. But second of all, when you are this age, you no longer have to impress people, right? And I want to pass on a quote that I really love, and I've tried so hard when I'm counseling people to share this with them. It says, you will worry less about what others think about you when you recognize how seldom they do. Now just think about it, right? You worry about what you're wearing, how your hair looks, how your makeup is, how your teeth are. Most people will say, oh, look at how she's dressed, and that passing thought is gone in a half a second. So what, right? Do not worry about what other people think of you. Don't even worry about what you think of you, because that'll change. The other nice thing about getting older is we don't have to bullshit people anymore. Right? I mean, you tell people as it is. If they don't like it, then they won't call you again. And that will be a help. But when my son turned 45, I sent him an email that morning. And I wrote to him, dear Stephen, you're 45 today, and I want you to know I have a Jewish mother's dream. I have a son who's a doctor and a daughter who's a New York attorney. And Stephen wrote back to me, and I have a Jewish son as dream, a mother living in a different state. So if anybody is worried about not having any humility, those of you who have children, just ask them about anything, what they think of you, right? And you will get, if they're honest with you, you will find out that it's good to be in a separate state. Okay, so here is a health question and answer session, and I thought these were particularly good, so I copied them out for you. I've heard that cardiovascular exercise can prolong life. Is this true? And the doctor writes, your heart is only good for so many beats, and that's it. Don't waste them on exercise. Everything wears out eventually. Speeding up your heart will not make you live longer. That's like saying you can extend the life of your car by driving it faster. Want to live longer? Take a nap. Now, I will tell you, I am taking classes in Zumba, and I was doing water aerobics, and I, believe in all those things. But friends of mine have often asked me why I don't join a gym. And I tell them the truth, which is I hate gyms, and I hate exercise machines, and I mostly hate any kind of real exercise that doesn't look like dancing, right? My thinking was, I've read all these articles that say, if you exercise regularly, you add 7 years to your life. My feeling is, why do I want to live 7 years longer doing something I hate to do? That's why it's great that we get to see demonstrations of tap dancing and Zumba and aerobics and Tai Chi and the things that we saw today, because the people who are doing them obviously are enjoying them. And the things that they're not enjoying, hopefully they're doing less of, right? That's good thing to follow. Okay, here's the next question. Should I cut down on meat and eat more fruits and vegetables? Gentlemen, if you could talk a little lower. Should I cut down on meat and eat more fruits and vegetables was the question. You must grasp logistical efficiencies, is what the physician says. What does a cow eat? Hay and corn. And what are these? Vegetables. So a steak is nothing more than an efficient mechanism of delivering vegetables to your system. Need grain? Eat chicken. Beef is also a good source of field grass. All right, and here's the next question. I hope you're all following these very important nutritional. Okay, question. How can I calculate my body fat ratio? Okay, answer. Well, if you have a body and you have fat, your ratio is 1 to 1. If you have 2 bodies, your ratio is 2 to 1, etc. Okay, here's another good question. What are some of the advantages of participating in a regular exercise program? Answer. Can't think of a single one, sorry. My philosophy is no pain, good. Here's another. Aren't fried foods bad for you? Answer. You're not listening. Foods are fried these days in vegetable oil. In fact, they're permeated in it. How could getting more vegetables be bad for you? Next, will sit-ups help prevent me from getting a little soft around the middle? Answer, definitely not. When you exercise a muscle, it gets bigger. You should only be doing sit-ups if you want a bigger stomach. Is chocolate bad for me? Answer, are you crazy? Hello? Cocoa beans, another vegetable. It's the best feel-good food around. Is swimming good for your figure? If swimming is good for your figure, explain whales to me. Is getting in shape important for my lifestyle? Answer, round is a shape. Somebody did suggest, by the way, that instead of talking about I'm going to the John, you should name your toilet Jim. So you can tell people I'm going to the gym now. Now, as we are senior citizens here, I did copy down for you some perks of being over 50. And I'm going to read to you my favorites on this very long list. Okay, you ready? We're all over 50. Those of you who aren't will be soon. Kidnappers are not very interested in us. People call at 9 p.m. and ask, did I wake you? Things you buy now won't wear out. You can eat dinner at 4 p.m. and no one questions it. You can live without sex, but not without your glasses. You sing along with elevator music and remember the words. I don't have this on this list, but we remember cursive writing. We remember learning grammar. And we lived in an era where a single person could be he or she, not they. You can tell I'm a teacher. Okay? Here's another. Your joints are more accurate meteorologists than the National Weather Service. And your secrets are safe with your friends because they can't remember them either. Okay, here's one. We can have, this is now that COVID is over, people are still being a little more careful, which is also why Bernie said the tables are farther away from each other than they used to be, and trying to allow for a little closer to social distancing so that we're not in very close proximity with hundreds of people as we often have been. And it said we can have gatherings of up to 10 people without issues. But I don't know 10 people without issues. I don't think I even know 2 people without issues. I'm at a place in my life where errands are starting to count as going out on a date. That was happening, wasn't it? I know it. Okay, I don't know who needs to hear this right now, but if you're going through a tough time, don't cut your bangs. Okay? During COVID, there was just not enough time in the day for all the things I didn't do. Right? Whatever happened to all the good excuses we had? No, I can't possibly get to that. There's just too much going on, right? We had so much time. We had almost 2 years of so much time. How many of you got done all the stuff on your to-do list from the month before? How many of you decided it wasn't worth it? I decided a long time ago that paying $7,000 a year, and this is not a joke, for 3 storage units in Hacienda Storage is better than what it would cost me for therapy to have to go through all this stuff and get rid of it. Right? So sometimes as we get older, we have to prioritize what is really worth spending our time on. And there's no question but that spending our time with friends has to be worth a lot more than however much time you could spend going through things. I gave my daughter a large sum of money, true story, because she will be the one to clean out my 2 houses and my 3 storage units, and I gave her many thousands of dollars so that she can hire somebody to get rid of it all. And I said to her, Beth, I said, you know, there are 2 sets of sterling silver in one of those storage units. She said, that'll be nice for them. Okay. When Isaac Newton stayed at home to avoid the 1665 plague, he discovered the laws of gravity, optics, and invented calculus. So what have you done? And then, of course, my favorite question to the universe is, dear universe, when I asked if my day could get any worse, it was a rhetorical question, not a challenge. Now, one of my friends who happens to be a marvelous writer and who has her columns in many of our Connecticut newspapers because she does the theater critic. Her name is Bonnie Goldberg, and she doesn't have any idea that I'm going to read this today, but it was so really perfect for our gathering. It's called The Mysterious FOMO. After almost 2 years of fighting the mighty foe of the COVID pandemic, we are all probably suffering from a new and previously unknown ailment, FOMO, F-O-M-O. This new symptom is likely to attack you without warning, out of the blue, with few signs for what is about to creep into your psyche. FOMO is a longing for experiences and events that have the power to make your life better than it presently is. FOMO is that insidious danger, the fear of missing out. F-O-M-O, fear of missing out. Admit it. During the last shutdown of life, you have longed for in-person get-togethers, Birthday parties, picnics, weddings, social events with family and friends, especially holiday celebrations. Maybe you haven't missed appointments for root canals with your dentist, but staying at home alone has really sucked, even with your friendly pets by your side. And that lack of physical contact, the hugs and kisses that marked us as socially starved individuals who love contacts, who love love, had been brutal. Watching live theater is wonderful again. Even watching third graders playing soccer, dining in a restaurant, attending a religious service, grooving at a concert of your favorite crooner, all in person. Zoom had its moments, but feeling alive beats physically every time. So grab your mask and your hand sanitizer and boldly venture into the world. FOMO victims unite. And as we were all victims of feeling like we were missing out because because our kids weren't coming to visit as often, our friends weren't coming to visit, people were doing work where we used to have colleagues in a workplace. People were now doing their work from the phone, and many of them have decided not to go back, right? And that's just going to be another shortcoming, unfortunately, when you go to the offices. As you know, they're not staffed as well as they used to be, and there are many longer lines for pretty much everything. So when we're talking about all of this, it is true that during COVID, most of us were missing even people we detested. Isn't that the truth? Didn't you miss the people who used to annoy you? The people who used to sit next to you and slurp their food? Now you couldn't see them, you couldn't hear them, you couldn't touch them. That was very sad. So people did all kinds of things to compensate, and some of them were not that good. I, for one, found pretty good compensation. I love Aldi's peanut butter cups. So I ate those for breakfast. And it's a very nice way to start your day. After all, the peanut butter has protein. And the chocolate, of course, has calcium, so we couldn't do much better than that. Now, what people are complaining about now, right, aside from long lines and things, is inflation, right? Where everybody was bitching and complaining about we couldn't go anyplace, we couldn't see anybody. Now all people are talking about is inflation. Here's how bad inflation is. My neighbor got a pre-declined credit card in the mail. CEOs are now playing miniature golf. ExxonMobil laid off 25 congressmen. I saw a Mormon with only one wife. McDonald's is selling the quarter ouncer. Angelina Jolie adopted a child from America. Parents in Beverly Hills fired their nannies and learned their children's names. A truckload of Americans were caught sneaking into Mexico. A picture is now only worth 200 words. Called to get a blue book value on my car. They asked if the gas tank was full or empty. Now, years back, I was speaking in San Diego at a conference of the Association for Applied and Therapeutic Humor. And I told the group, because my husband had had a stroke a year and a half before that, and they knew me, and they of course knew my husband, because he used to come to the conferences with me. And I said to the group, well, I just want you to know I've not had an orgasm in a year and a half. Now I grant you that's an unusual way to start a talk, but my friends are mostly used to me, right? I said, the only time I have an orgasm now is when somebody tells me a joke I have never heard before. So for the 4 days of that conference in San Diego, everybody was coming over to me, trying to tell me a joke I had never heard before. One of those jokes, to date, is still one of the best jokes I've ever heard, and I'm going to share a few jokes with you, but that will be my first. A man takes his dog to the movie theater. He sits the dog in one seat, he's sitting in the other seat. Every time there is a sad scene in the movie, the dog is crying his eyes out. And every time there's a funny scene in the movie, the dog is laughing his ass off. And at the end of the movie, the man is leaving the movie theater with his dog, and the manager comes running down the aisle and he says, "Wait, don't leave. I've got to talk to you. I have been watching your dog. Your dog understood every nuance of every emotional scene in this movie. I've never seen anything like it. To tell you the truth, I am amazed." And the owner of the dog says, "You're amazed. I'm even more amazed. He hated the book." Another of my favorite dog jokes is about the man who has a very bright talking dog, and he brings the dog into the bar. And the dog is sitting on one stool, he's sitting on the other stool. He orders a drink for the dog, a drink for him. They both have their drinks. And both are animatedly talking to the bartender, the dog and the gentleman. And now he orders a second drink for the dog, a second drink for him. Again, they're talking to the bartender, and finally the guy says to the bartender, "Look, can you watch my dog for just a minute? I really have to go to the bathroom. But do not take your eyes off this dog or he will run right out of the bar." And the bartender says, "No problem." The guy goes to the bathroom. He comes out 5 minutes later. The dog is gone. He says to the bartender, "What happened to my dog?" He said, "I'm really sorry. He got very busy in here, but don't worry. I gave your dog a quarter and I sent him to the corner where there is a newspaper stand, and I asked him to buy me a newspaper, so I'm sure he'll be back in a couple of minutes." Well, the owner of the dog goes running out of the bar, runs to the newspaper stands on the corner. He says to the newspaper man, "Have you seen a dog?" He said, "Yeah, a dog came by a couple of minutes ago, but he ran across the street to the park." So now the owner of the dog goes running across the street to the park, and sure shooting, there is his dog making it like crazy with another dog. He grabs his dog off the other dog and he says to his dog, "My God, what happened to you? You never did this before. How come you're doing it now?" The dog looks at him and said, "I never had the money before." Now, I'm sure you've heard about the husband and wife who go to the doctor for their annual checkup together. And the husband gets examined first, and the doctor says, "Well, you look pretty good. Do you have any problems you want to discuss with me?" And the guy says, "Well, to tell you the truth, I find that when I have intercourse, one time I am sweating to death, and the next time I make love to my wife, I am freezing." And the doctor says, "Gee, I don't know that I can help you with this, but thank you for sharing." Lisa would approve of that, to tell your story to the doctor, what really is the problem, right? Well, now the wife comes in, and the doctor examines the wife, and the wife is in great shape, and the doctor says, as he did before, "You're in great shape. Do you have any problems?" She says, "No, everything is fine." "Well, your husband shared with me that when you have intercourse, sometimes he is dying of heat, and another time he's freezing to death." And the wife says, "Well, yeah, it's not surprising. The first time is in December, and the second time is in July." It could happen, right? Okay. I've been hearing a lot of jokes lately about Ukraine and Russia and what's going on. What is going on is tragic, and there is no way, but we have to believe, as we did know during COVID, that things have got to get better because things cannot stay at this horrifying level. And it's really important to be able to laugh no matter how sad things are. We have to always know that things will improve, that we just have to hang in and do what we can to help whatever the cause is, and things will get better. But what's nice about most of the tragedies that go on is we get jokes about them. So I'm going to share with you 2 Russian jokes that are pretty funny, and if we take them out of the context of this is a tragic thing that's going on and just appreciate it as a joke, it could be about anything, even though right now it isn't. All right? A soldier, is in the square in Moscow, and he sees a group of soldiers coming down, and he sees a nun right next to him, and the nun is wearing this big, enormous skirt. And he says to the nun, "Would you mind if I hid under your skirt just for a couple of minutes? And the nun says, no problem. He gets under the skirt, the soldiers walk by, and afterwards, a few minutes, the guy comes out from under the skirt and says to the nun, I want to thank you so much. I really want to thank you, because I do not want to get conscripted to go to Ukraine. He said, but I do want to tell you that while I was under your skirt, I noticed that you have 2 very beautiful legs. And the nun says, well, thank you very much. And if you had looked up a little higher, you would have seen 2 very beautiful testicles. I don't want to go to Ukraine either. Well, and since we're on the subject of Russia, and so far you're okay still, right? Okay. No. Putin invited one of the leaders from Africa to come and see how they test courage in Russia. And he says, I'm going to show you our test of courage. And he takes a bullet, puts it into one of the chambers in a gun, brings him around, puts it to his head, shoots, and nothing happens. He said, this is Russian roulette, and this is how we test courage here in Russia. Would you like to try it? And the African leader says, sure. So he twists it around, goes to his head, nothing happens. Everybody's great. A year later, the African leader invites Putin to come to Africa. And he says, I'm going to show you our test of courage here in Russia. He said, great. And he opens up a door, and there inside is an array of 6 of the most gorgeous women you can possibly imagine. One more beautiful than the next, stark naked. And Putin says, well, how is this a test of courage? He said, well, you are going to choose the woman who is going to perform oral sex. He said, how is that a test of courage? He said, one of them is a cannibal. Bernie, they're handling it. They're okay. Now, I am going to tell you one other of my absolute favorite jokes. And this joke it's a lovely story in that the granddaughter comes to visit her grandmother after the grandpa has died and said, Grandma, I am so sad that Grandpa has died. You know how much I loved him. And the grandmother says, yes, sweetheart, and you know you were his favorite grandchild. And the granddaughter says, oh, that's really nice, but I miss him a lot. But tell me, Grandma, how did Grandpa die? She said, well, sweetheart, to tell you the truth, he had a heart attack last Sunday while we were making love. And the granddaughter looks at her grandmother and says, while you were making love? Grandma, Grandpa was 95. You're 92 years old. No wonder he had a heart attack. She said, well, no, sweetheart, we made love every Sunday because we discovered that the rhythm of the church bells was exactly perfect. He would go in on the ding, out on the dime. In on the ding, out on the dime. And he'd be alive today if it weren't for that damn ice cream truck. Now, I have a feeling that there aren't any questions, but I am here to entertain if there are any questions. No, there's, go ahead, Jill.
Can you tell the woman about the Irish bagpipe guy?
I can't. That's really one to be read, but it's a great joke. Next time. Anybody else have a question or a statement? Anything you want to add? Anything you learned during COVID? Nobody learned anything during COVID? Listen, I learned during COVID that I pared down my list when I was looking for 25 qualities in a man. I had 25 things on the list. During COVID, I lowered it to 2. Ambulatory and drives at night. Jill?
One or two jokes from the Sex and Chocolate lecture?
No, Jill, I cannot. I'm asking for people who want to give something, not take something. Anybody have any questions? Well, I would like to tell you in truth, thank God, mostly COVID is gone, and we are experiencing orgasms regularly when we leave the place and can take off our masks. We are getting together more with friends. Bernie has made it possible each year prior to the last two, when we had COVID, to have this wonderful gathering of people who are celebrating life. And what I would like to suggest to you, to make sure that every day is a celebration, number one, make a point of connecting, at least by telephone, with one friend. I have a friend who was supposed to be here today but did not get her vaccination and therefore was not eligible. But I have a friend who I call every single morning at 7 o'clock. And I say, good morning, sunshine, and she says, good morning, wonderful, awesome person. And we just catch up with what we're going to do for that day that's fun, and we hang up. And that way we know that we're going to start off the day talking to somebody that we love, who is up and is going to offer encouragement for us to have a great day. Another thing as we get older, when you go shopping for clothing, don't ever buy anything that doesn't make you smile when you look how you look in the mirror, right? We reflect out how we think we look, and if you feel like you look blah, you are bitchy to everyone, okay? Now, this used to be a real problem to me because my favorite store was Marshall's. And sometimes I bought something because it was marked half price or size 3. But now I have decided it really is worth more just to buy happy things. And I will say probably 20 people already here has commented on how much they like this. And it's not that it's such a beautiful piece, it is that it's bright and happy looking. So you can do that. Buy things that make you feel up, and other people around you will also feel up. And most important, of all the things that you can do to improve your life, the singular most important thing that you can do is to surround yourself with positive people. Because when you surround yourself with negative people, which one of my friends called energy suckers, they drag you down. But when you surround yourself with up people, you smile more, you're happier, and life is just a more bright and happy place to be. So I want to commend Bernie again for the fabulous work she has done all these years in bringing together positive people who know how to celebrate getting older. And if Sylvia is not the perfect model of how we all can expect to be in our hundreds, just keep her picture in your mind. She is like this all the time. All of you, I hope to see you again next year and the year after and the year after, celebrating life. Thank you for being here.
So we're going to wrap things up now after this wonderful day, and we're going to have our drawing for some of our gifts up here. This is going to be the drawing of the cards. You went through our wellness area. You had your cards marked, and they're put in some kind of a...
Just spread them all out, Bernie.
All right, so let's pick number 1.
All right, so close my eyes.
Brenda Eldridge. Francine Gumkowski. Careful, you gotta put your hands underneath this. Beverly McNeil. Beverly McNeil, is she there, here? I think I saw her Parker, but I don't think she's here anymore. Sally Haver. Haveken, Haveken, Sally. Where?
you?
Sally here? Judy Cherleglio.
Here you go, Jim.
Barbara Villico. Barbara Villico. V-I-L-L-E-C. Villico. Charles Criscolo. Dolores Bystrack. B-Y-S-T-R-A-C-K. Dolores. Barbara Penzi. P-E-N-D-Z-I. See her? She's way back there. Barbara Torino. Aura Wilson.
Is there a second month?
One already went.
Oh, okay.
And the last one, Joanne Durand. All right. Thank you all for participating thank you all for participating in the wellness, because you know, every year, and if you hear of other people or if you have any suggestions in another year of the kind of services you want to see there, that's really a learning event. You go through there and you get information, take it home, you can use it today, tomorrow, 5 years from now, but you know some of the services available for seniors and some of the places to live. So if you have ideas of places we might use for wellness, the wellness room, please let people know. Go to our website and give us that information. And now somebody's going to help with this.
Okay, I guess I'll do the raffle. It's $228. So the lucky winner. All right.
Yeah, big winner.
Come on, before the next event.
Okay, everyone ready? The lucky number is 158510. 158510.
Brenda, you won.
Wow. Win? I'll check. You got it.
Congratulations. Again, from all of us at sea, from all the people who participated, thank you for coming. Sylvia, we're really happy to have given you that award, and we wish you many more years of active life
And thank you all for everything you've given, the Brantford Tappers, the Guilford people, everybody. Thank you very much for coming and participating. Have a good day.